The Simply Successful program offers stress management tools for the lifespan, so small children, adolescents, or adults can be simply successful.
Hello, I'm Deb Timmerman.
And I'm Beth Tuttle.
Welcome to the Simply Successful program.
We teach stress management skills that build resilient kids
and create successful families and thriving communities. Today, our guest is Marcia VanderWoude. Welcome, Marcia.
Thank you.
Marcia is a 38-year veteran of the financial services industry. She worked for Merrill Lynch as a broker. She retired in 2003 and wrote the book, Savvy Women, Smart Choices. Tell us a little bit about your book, Marcia.
First of all, they're real stories about real women that were my clients. So I had many women that were married, single, divorced, widowed, and I gave hundreds of seminars for women during the time that I was working at Merrill Lynch and Payne Weber. And so I chose to write a simple primer, basically, about choices that women have made, some of them terrible, and the right choices to make in the process of their financial and estate planning. So the stories, actually I'd love to have you read the book. The stories are fantastic. And I did have some editors. And I have been giving this book away mostly for many years because at my age I didn't have the capacity to put it on social media. I didn't have skills to get it out there. So I've given a lot of the books away. I've sold some in bookstores. They have it at the Bookman, Grand Haven, and Schuler Books in Grand Rapids.
And it is also available on Amazon.com, correct?
Right, it's as an ebook.
You also teach personal finance at Grand Valley State University. Tell us a little bit about that course.
Okay, it is very comprehensive. I start out with, actually when I teach my retreats, I start out with a personal financial profile, but that comes along later in my class. So we start out with banking, cash management. Then we move into the investments, all investments, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. Then we move into retirement planning, all aspects of that, types of plans, types of investments, rules about retirement plans. We go into life insurance, property casualty, disability insurance, long-term care insurance. And we end up the class with estate planning. In fact, I make them do a whole estate plan, 4 documents.
You talked about cash management. Most of us live paycheck to paycheck. And when we look at the top 10 stressors in a person's lifetime, 3 of them revolve around finances. So growing financial obligations due to a family or mortgage or a new car payment, loss of income from personal injury or losing a job, those are all things that it's really important to have a financial plan and be ready
right
to go if something happens.
We also do a written budget.
I laugh when you talk about budget because most of us are worried about how we're going to live from one paycheck to the next paycheck, and we don't understand budget.
Yeah, we don't even have a budget set up.
Right. So what you have to do is teach your money where you want it to go rather than your money controlling you. So, for example, the only way you can do a budget is to look back at what you actually spent. That's why I never recommend carrying cash, because cash goes away, and you have no idea where it went.
Yeah, there's no tracking system.
So, for example, I look back at I use credit cards for everything, and I pay them off in full automatically in my bank account every month. And I use them to get points. I use Southwest, so I'm flying free today to Las Vegas because I use it for every single thing, even a $2 cup of coffee I would use, because then I have a total record. What I spend on food, restaurants, groceries, Trader Joe's. That's actually my biggest expenditure, I think, is food and wine, basically.
Well, that's not so bad.
I know.
What do you see is the biggest mistake women make with money?
Ooh. Maybe spending to make themselves feel better, going out buying a new sweater because they look good in it, and so that kind of shopping, unpremeditated shopping.
Yeah, so when you talk about putting money on everything's gone on a charge card, I think a lot of people would look at it like, well, if you have, say, $10,000 on this charge card, how do you stop from someone or help them understand the concept of it's necessities? We have this amount, so people just buy, spend because that amount's there.
That's a mindset. That's a mindset. I always know when I can spend money and when I can't. So it's always in my head. I know exactly what it costs me to live.
So this is something that you help them understand or teach in the workshop so that they understand this concept.
Exactly. Some people are not teachable, however, but I try. And I do this in the relaxed setting of my Lake Michigan home with the waves and the birds, and people come and they stay overnight and they just get totally relaxed and ready to face this stuff, which most of the time people just like
it's
throw the
daunting.
bills in the drawer, and then I also help organize. So in other words, you have everything in binders, real easy to pick out. So alphabetically, and so under A you would put your automobile title, under B you would put your budget.
There's hope for my horribly messy file cabinet.
See, file cabinets don't work.
It's kind of like I know where it is, but when I need to put my fingers on it, I have to dig for it for 10 minutes.
Consider this. What if you die? What are your poor heirs going to do when they're, first of all, grieving? If you die suddenly, for example. And they're grieving. And then they have to figure out all this stuff.
Yeah.
So every year, my children are almost 44 and 42. Every year I give them an update. This is where everything is. And my son is my trustee now, and his wife are my trustees of my trust. I had my girlfriend for many years when they were younger. And this is an excellent method. And so this first binder is called the Savvy Woman Starter Kit. And then you can expand, depending on how much stuff you have, you can expand. Get these plastic dividers to put your policies in, your homeowner's insurance policy, your life insurance policies. So this retreat can take as long as you need. In other words, if you need 2 days and 2 nights, that's fine.
So if I could sum up our conversation and think about how I could prevent stress in my life or stress in my family's life, I think it's 2 words: be prepared.
Correct.
So you help people understand what's happening, what they need to do, and then help them get organized. That's like the whole package.
Or send them to the right people too. I don't invest for people anymore, but I send them to usually women advisors. And if you don't have an estate plan, which most people do not, I send them to an attorney. If they won't do that, I send them to the Susie Orman Will and Trust Kit. And if they won't do that, then I have the forms myself. So if you take my retreat, there's no way that you're going to be unprepared for anything, any eventuality that happens in your life. And that relieves stress like crazy, that you know that if you die, that your children are going to have everything right there. They know exactly what to do, especially people in a remarriage. The husband needs his own trust, the wife needs her own trust. Because you each have children, maybe, you each have different ways you want your money to go. And
yeah, it's like something you wouldn't think of. And I know my grandma passed recently, and there were file cabinets and papers, and the stress that it put on my aunt and my dad, it was overwhelming.
She probably didn't have a trust. She probably had a will, and that has to go through probate, which is very expensive. time consuming. People don't get their money right away.
Yeah. And you
But
would
with a
realize
trust, immediately. My kids will get my bank account immediately.
that. Wow.
And they'll get my house at the beach and my condo. My daughter will get quitclaim deed right over to her trust. So it's going to be so simple for my kids, and they know it.
Right.
Now I have my business partner too, who has agreed that she's going to oversee that too. So to be prepared for anything is the greatest feeling. You sleep at night.
You mentioned your business partner, and you were writing a companion workshop. A workbook. Tell us a little bit about what that's going to be.
Okay. That is going to be published also. And we start that out with a personal financial profile, and we do a written budget form in there. And then we're writing chapters that they can know how to invest in stocks, how bonds work. This is how they work. And how to pick a financial advisor, how to select a proper CPA attorney. So people all over the world can buy this and do it themselves, and then if they feel like they need more instruction, then they come to my retreat. That would be the idea.
Nice.
Where would folks sign up for your retreat? And I guess we should clarify, these retreats are specifically for women, yes. Even though that woman can be married, separated, divorced, widowed, whatever. How do they sign up?
Actually, the best thing to do is to email me at savvywomen@gmail.com, savvywomen@gmail.com. I can then send them a pre-retreat financial questionnaire so that I know if they have a 401k, if they understand their statements, if they have a trust, if they have a will, all of these things, which I will teach them specifically for them. That's why I only like to have one or two people at a time, particularly those who are somehow connected to each other so they can share their financial information. Otherwise, we have to have private time. So if I have two unrelated people coming at one time, then I'd have to have special sessions with that person, each person, because if they don't want their information shared. So ideally, if it's two people, then to be related, mother-daughter, best friends, things like that. And I will also take husbands.
Well, ladies,
if you feel that would be ideal.
Yes.
Ladies, we want to encourage you to get your financial affairs in order and to contact Marcia at the email again, Marcia?
savvywomen@gmail.com. savvywomen@gmail.com.
Beth and I would like to thank you so much for being our guest today. For Marcia's information, again, savvywomen@gmail.com. You can find our stress relieving tips at simplysuccessfulprogram.com. That's simplysuccessfulprogram.com. Until next time.